6 o'clock. Welcome to Omar's Diary, where I chronicle my journey as a broadcast journalist. I am Omar, your very sweetheart on radio, TV, social media sweetheart everywhere. Amazing. It is so good. I feel so excited to have you here on this particular podcast because, going through this podcast, I couldn't help but feel so inspired listening to different perspectives. Meanwhile, as a fellow on the MTN-MIP, that's the Media Innovation Program, Cohort 3 2024, we were in South Africa. And it was, oh my goodness, what is the right word right now? It was awesome, prolific, great. I could think of many adjectives. I could fill in many adjectives to express and describe how we all felt. I couldn't help but observe. I put on my binoculars, like my 3D, right? The augmented reality. I put it on, and also the virtual reality. I put it on as well, and I observed the fellows. All right, my colleagues that I went on the journey with. It was amazing. Okay, and from the beginning, from when we landed in South Africa, although this podcast is not really, this podcast is actually a podcast to recap the experience of some of the fellows whom I spoke with. But let me just give you a background, right? Part of the MTN Media Innovation Program, which started in 2022, happened in 2023, and this 2024 is a study trip. That's a fully funded study trip sponsored by MTN Nigeria in collaboration with Pan Atlantic University, Lagos, for the fellows. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up to MTN Nigeria for sponsoring the fellows. That's the MTN-MIP Cohort 3 2024 fellows to South Africa. For a lot of fellows like me, it was our first South African experience. Really, to some other fellows, they've been to South Africa different times, but the impact, the perspectives is liquid. You can feel it. You can literally touch it. So from the time we left Nigeria to when we landed in Kigali to when we landed in Johannesburg, all the experience back to back, like back. I've never seen something like that before. Then on the day we were to leave South Africa, that night we were waiting at the lobby of the hotel where we stayed. I thought to myself, as a storyteller, isn't it beautiful and amazing to capture these voices, to tell their stories, such that in years to come they will still look back and remember what they said and how they said it. And wow, voila, I went to work. And I did interview some of the fellows, and it was inspiring listening to these fellows tell their stories, share their experiences, recap their South African experience. One thing remains vivid in their stories and their perspectives. The positive impact is real. Like, seriously, it is so real. And this impact is for generations. Amazing. I was inspired listening to all of them. The fellows that I spoke with share their experiences, recap the immersive, like the days that we spent in South Africa. And thankfully so, we had to do that interview on South African soil. Now take a listen to these till the very end, and I will see you at the end of it. Stay with me.
She too fine, she gets style, her voice now dies. My baby, oh my sweetheart on radio.
So my name is Oluwatomisin Amokioja. I cover West Africa for Forbes Africa, and fortunately I'm a fellow of the MTN Media Innovation Program MIP Cohort 3. So it's been a wonderful experience being on this program and also being here in South Africa for the study trip and the cultural exchange program. Having read a lot about South Africa from books like Xperirnce is Dead by Atofuga, which one of the themes in that novel had to do with the Apatheid period. Now coming to South Africa to experience what it was like being at the Apatheid Museum, knowing where they are from, knowing where they are coming from and where they are at the moment, and in terms of the development that has happened in the country, in terms of the infrastructure and what have you. So it's been a wonderful experience speaking with indigenes, speaking with journalists who are on the ground, and even diplomatic community and the government. So it's been an all-round experience, and I'm going to be going back home with a lot of mind shift and in terms of the perspective, which has been a positive influence. So that's going to reflect in my work going forward in terms of focusing more on the Pan-African perspective and how to drive the conversation going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, my name is Omonike Babatunde, and my South African trip has been, well, I really cannot find the word to describe it right now, but it has been awesome, wholesome, and amazing. It's been an entirely different experience for me because this is like a new, exposure to life. I've always seen about Nigeria, but then seeing about the South African life, it's quite different compared to the narrative we've been hearing on the social media, the xenophobia and the whole thinking, okay, this whole thing happening online is actually reflecting on the street of South Africa, but meanwhile, it is not true. And on this trip, I think I've learned quite a lot about, making sure I portray this same narrative to the world so they get to know that, South Africa is actually a beautiful place. And as Nigerians, we can actually work together and have that unity. And that's where the Pan-Africanism comes in, as we're being taught, to make sure we all have unity in Africa, where we all see ourselves as brothers and sisters and not just, saying this is happening, you're South African, I'm Nigerian, and then I have to stay on my lane. No, we're all brothers, we're all sisters. So we have to make sure we join hands together and make sure we build Africa, because Thabo Mbeki said, as Africans, we are one. And we can't say because you are Zimbabwe and Nigerian, you're South African, then we have to go our separate ways. No, we are one. It is just this race and the likes that separates us. So we all have to make sure we get to understand the fact that we're all black, we're all brothers, we're all sisters. If the old name to the country is not there, we probably will be brothers and sisters just waving at ourselves from afar off. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so my name is Monin Kola Ogidon. I work with Adabaite.9 FM in Akure, Ondo State, Nigeria. My experience on the MTN-MIP3 trip to South Africa is beyond mind-blowing because I didn't expect that it was going to be this packed and intense, at the same time very interesting, insightful, and honestly, for a lot of us, we didn't see it coming. It's a study trip, right? And the interesting part is the fact that we're able to see South Africans in a different light by ourselves, not being told the stories alone, but experiencing it on a first hand. It's a lot. It's a whole lot. And this is just to say thank you again to MTN.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Oluwadunsi Soya, and I work at Bella Niger, a digital media platform that amplifies the best of Africa and tells positive stories of the continent. My trip to South Africa was nothing short of amazing, right? I did not know exactly what I was expecting. I knew it was a study trip. I knew we were going to attend classes. We were going to learn more about media and innovation, but I was not prepared for the caliber of people we were going to meet. From meeting the former president of South Africa, Thabo Mbeki, to the MTN Group chair, to the High Commissioner, to the Deputy Minister, it was a lot. It was very eye-opening, it was very enlightening, it was very insightful. I got to learn more about the South African and Nigerian relationship, and I'm not going to lie, based on what has been happening on social media, I've been thinking, oh my goodness, is it that South Africans don't like Nigerians? You know, is it that there's a problem somewhere? Is it that they see Nigeria in a certain light and they're extending that hatred to Nigerians? But coming here, I've realized that it's not, you know, it's not like that. It's not the way it seems on social media. South Africans are loving, they are welcoming, and they are very warm. And no, they do not hate Nigerians. So I am going back to Nigeria with a renewed perception. I'm going back learning how to tell better stories that foster better and positive relationship between both countries, right? So I've come to South Africa. I've learned so much about the history of South Africa, and I've learned about how Nigeria played a very key role in the liberation of South Africa. These are things we were taught in school, but to see it firsthand, to hear from former presidents, is an experience like no other. So I'm super grateful to MTN for this opportunity to be enlightened, to be more exposed, to expand my horizon beyond Nigeria. I'm super grateful to MTN for this knowledge that will forever live with me, and I'm super grateful for MTN for amplifying positive stories about Nigeria and about South Africa. And moving forward, I know that the media is going to be very, very instrumental in shaping this narrative and fostering better relationship between both countries.
Okay, my name is Dakwa Wakalo. I work with IBST Limited, a video production and media tech solutions company in Lagos, Nigeria. My experience of South Africa in the past 1 week has been quite rewarding. I've been hearing about South Africa, seeing South Africa on TV, obviously DSTV multi-choice, you know, the great things that come out from South Africa, Spar, Game, Mr. Price, ShopRite. So I know South Africa is obviously not a less economically developed country, but a very much developed country. In fact, there's nothing Africa about South Africa. That's my experience in a nutshell. The environment, the infrastructure, the weather, and the people here also. The way they go about their life, you know. That's just my experience of the city and the town, Johannesburg, which we've been in for the past 1 week. Then the engagement, which MTN has given to us a platform. We've been able to engage with top people like Thabo Mbeki, former president of South Africa. We've been to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, engaged with the minister, engaged with University of Johannesburg and the Vice Chancellor and lecturers. It's been quite rewarding. I can go on and on, but I'll just stop here and say thank you MTN for the platform. Thank you PAU, Pan-Atlantic University, for the platform. I am short of words, and most importantly is to take the experience and apply it, which is the essence of this. The essence of this is taking the experience and applying it in our work when we get back to Nigeria. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Juliet Ontoye. I am a broadcaster working with Royal Roots 92.9 FM based in Ibadan, Nigeria, and also a member of the MTN-MIP program. Our trip to SA has been beyond what words can explain, really. But I feel like MTN and Pan-Atlantic University, alongside University of Johannesburg, did a great job in putting the program together, because one of the major key points of this, or highlights of this trip, was, the need to establish that Pan-Africanism in the minds of journalists, Nigerian journalists coming to SA. And I don't use Pan-Africanism as just a political word, but really with an understanding of what it is, which is feeling like that spirit of brotherhood
within, outside of Nigeria with the rest of Africa. And every part of this program was geared towards that. From, the summit at University of Johannesburg to the meeting with the former president of South Africa, Thabo Mbeki, to meeting, the Nigerian High Commission, DIRCO, Department of International Relations and Cooperation. All the programs we had during this trip really further enforced that need for unity, that need for journalists to be mindful of the other countries that exist in Africa, and it's beyond just Nigeria. So when you're telling your stories, it's not in a bid to demonize other African countries, but to understand that it's like a brother. So even when there's something wrong, your perspective should be from that of love and not hate. I wanted to push an agenda of hate. So that this trip really did that for me, and I'm glad that I was a part of it. And I hope that moving forward, I would also be able to replicate that in my own space through my journey, through my own profession, to let people around me know that, Africa is not just Nigeria. There's a lot more outside of Nigeria, and we need to see ourselves as brothers. So thank you very much.
My name is Augustus Aigbe. I work with Cool FM in Lagos, Nigeria. My experience in South Africa has been a very beautiful experience. It's been very engaging, it's an eye-opener really, because like I mentioned before, this was my first trip outside of Nigeria, and I only have the Pan Atlantic University and MTN to thank for that. But overall, it was an eye-opener in the sense that it did give me a different perspective. Before I showed up, a lot of people had propelled the narrative that South Africa was a country devoid of humanity, that South Africans did not like Nigerians, that South Africa was a hub of crime, and a whole lot more. But that narrative, I realized, was a proliferation of naysayers who just wanted the enmity between both countries to fester. And for a long period of time, they had their way up until, thankfully, the Media Innovation Program set up by MTN in partnership with Pan Atlantic University came to bear. And it has given journalists the opportunity to realign their thought process and understand that, you can change this narrative, because in truth, the governments of both countries are cordial. But it is the average South African and Nigerian who doesn't know any better that would assume that there's problems between both countries. And my experience over the last couple of days in this country, about a week plus, has reshaped this narrative for me and has given me a whole new perspective and understanding of both countries. And one thing I will guarantee you is that before my visa expires, I'll be back here again. And I'll come here again to let South Africans know that Nigerians are becoming aware of how in love we are with them and how they in turn are with us. And also try as much as possible to, redirect this training back home in Nigeria and educate people to avoid misinformation or in some cases disinformation, so that we reduce the possibility of proliferating the wrong narrative, either on social media, digital network platforms, or on broadcast platforms as well. And as a broadcast journalist, I think it's imperative that I make sure that happens. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My name is Rahman Abiola Toib. I'm a journalist working with Legit Nigeria, one of the projects of Legit formerly Genesis Media in Africa here. I work as I am the editor-in-chief, in which, as per my responsibility, I control the total operation of the newsroom using data-driven approaches and also centric procedures. Also, I lead a team of 150 journalists, PR professionals, social media managers, using tech-driven innovations. Coming to South Africa has been totally mind-blowing in terms of knowledge, in terms of exposure, in terms of cultural contact, in terms of the conversation. From the first day we came to South Africa, it has been a beautiful ride. From the beautiful landscape And to the conversation in various sessions, top-notch scholars who handled some of the sessions that we had. But the highest of the cake, apparently, is meeting new people, expanding the network and contact that we have, and of course, strengthening the Pan-Africanism bond between Nigeria and South Africa. So we look forward to more discussion on this concept of Pan-Africanism, with a view to using media as a tool to strengthen the bond, economic, political ties between the two countries. And of course, we coming down here is an opportunity to learn more, and that is basically what I've been able to achieve. Apart from my own colleagues here, people that we met, the orientation and then the expansion of knowledge. So it has been a mind-blowing experience personally for me, and I look forward to working on these all the knowledge which I have gained, the opportunity to further push forward what I have as my foresight in my career as a media professional and media trainer, and of course as a responsible Nigerian and a responsible African. So thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My name is Nifemi Oguntoye. I'm with TVC News Nigeria. The study visit to South Africa has been amazing, exciting, and eye-opening. The network opportunities are out of this world. We're privileged to have met some of the biggest stakeholders, in the School of Africanism. And as journalists, we are looking forward to be able to take advantage of that, to tell better stories, and to be able to speak with the main stakeholders in African affairs. We look forward to contributing our quota to be able to tell the stories the way they should be told, and also see how we can develop our continent moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, my name is Prince Osawa, and I'm the ICT editor of Vanguard newspapers. Well, this trip to South Africa was fantastic in many ways, because the conversation about Nigeria and South Africa, the bilateral relation, was in the fall everywhere you go. So when something begins to come that way, you now realize that there's consciousness about it between both countries. So both South Africa and Nigeria, they are now raring to go to see how they can end this feud, to see how they can end this, bad omen. Because these are the two biggest countries in Africa, and instead of them to come together and for no reason, they are just having bad blood against each other. Now both in government and on the street, you can see that people are beginning to say, no, why are we like this? So I think it has gotten to the zenith, and now they really want to come now together. That's number one happiness that I'm living to Nigeria with. That is not only about why these Nigerians are here. They want to take our job. They want to take our women. People are beginning to ask, why? We are brothers. Why are we fighting? So, and when it gets to that place, you know that resolution is very close. So that makes me happy. Secondly, MTN really values Nigeria, where they are working. And no wonder they are doing the things they are doing. And there are a few other things that I may not want to say openly, that I can see that they are doing, which means that they are beginning to feel that Nigeria is their own. So, and it reflected in this journey, because all the places of importance, they took us to those places. And when they are introducing us, you could see the passion in them, both MTN Nigeria and MTN Group, So all of them were keen to make sure that people will welcome Nigeria as brothers and sisters, and that's what was good for me. Then secondly, the entertainment, the hospitality was something else. The hotel was top notch. The food was awesome. The trips, the sightseeing and everything was wonderful. Everybody was happy. I don't think there's anybody who is going home with a frown face. Everything was there, and they took care of us, and everybody. In fact, I'm happy. I'm so happy about this trip. I'm not even talking about the studies. I'm not even talking about the certificate we got. You don't know what that certificate means to me, So this is my first certificate outside the country, and that is something else. That's something I think is huge for me. So if I begin to recount how good this trip has made me, probably will not live here today. But generally, I'm so happy. Nigeria and South Africa are going to remember that they are one blood, one mother, one father. And that's thank you.
Okay, my name is Chi Emile Ezubi. I'm the group features editor for this day newspaper. The past 8 days or so in South Africa has been quite elucidating for me. But I wasn't kind of surprised because given the kind of curriculum we've had so far in the past 4 months in Lagos at the Pan-Atlantic University in Lagos, I wasn't kind of surprised with the fully loaded coursework we had here in South Africa. But what I took away from here was the issue of bilateral relationships with South Africa. You know, when you are back in Nigeria, you are reading the internet, you're seeing things on Twitter, you're seeing the trolling, you're seeing the hate. And then you come to South Africa and you're seeing the warmth of the people. Oh, you're Nigerian. And then they just warm up to you and talk with you and all that. And I'm like, so who are those people on Twitter? Why are those people trolling people on Twitter? So it was kind of it also gave me a mind shift sort of, because from what I've seen on Twitter and what I've seen on reality, there are two opposite things. And I actually think that the relationship between Nigeria and South Africa, I don't think it can be broken, but it can be built upon. And this was one of the things that we were taught in South Africa. At least we went to the school of University of Johannesburg, went to Wits University, and then went to the South African Internal Affairs, where we talked about in details about the relationship between Nigeria and South Africa and the way forward. Because, like I said earlier in one of the interviews I've had, Africa has a myriad of challenges that are facing, and fighting each other shouldn't be one of them. We should be thinking about how to equal the likes of Asia, Hong Kong. We see the advancements in India, Asia, and the rest, and China, and the rest of them. This is what Africa should aspire to get to. And also, we also talk about the role of the media in all these things, which is very important, which is why we're having here actually. You know, that the media plays a very vital role in bridging the gap between both countries. We have to shape a narrative. Even if you see something negative, we have to look for the positive in that negative, so that instead of pouring fuel on an already burning fire, we help to douse it. So if I keep going on, I don't think we'll go here today, but I just want to say thank you to MTN, because I've been to trainings. I have been to trainings. I also want to thank Pan-Atlantic University. I've been to trainings, but this one was expository, it was elucidating. We found we posited for solutions to it, and with the enthusiasm and detail I've seen in my fellow MIP fellows, and I'm sure that we're going to use workable solutions, not just solutions that will put into practice. And in the forthcoming days, we are going to see the results of that solutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. My name is John Stone Pilaka, sub-editor, Human Angle, a Pan-African publication covering conflict and humanitarian crisis in Africa. And the MTN Media Innovation Program study trip to South Africa has been nothing short of amazing. It has been inspiring, listening to different conversations, being in different rooms with very, very important people. It has been really, really remarkable for me. It's been an amazing experience and a memorable one that we cherish for a lifetime, really. And I mean, gave me an opportunity to even bond more with my colleagues on the program. And so it's been an insightful experience, and I'm looking forward to implementing the lessons I've learned around Pan-Africanism, around sustainability of the media. And big ups to MTN Nigeria for this opportunity, and MTN Group for the hospitality, as well as the School of Media and Communication, Pan-Atlantic University, and the School of Communications at the University of Johannesburg for creating such a rich content for us to nourish our intellect as media professionals. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Blessing Agbeito. I'm a broadcast journalist and a development advocate. I work with Women Radio 91.7 as the assistant programs manager. As an MTN-MIP3 fellow, I would say the trip to South Africa has been an eye-opening one. First off, let me start by saying this is my first international trip, and I'm really grateful to MTN for this one. And I would say that for someone who is very big on development of Africa, I feel like the conversations we've had here thus far resonated with what I love. You know, I am all for the good of the nation, the good of the continent, because I mean, we have no place to go at the end of the day. Even if we go far and wide, we're still going to come back. This is our home country, our motherland. So we have to go all the way to ensure that we keep, you know, doing our very best to amplify development of Africa. So my trip to SA, South Africa, has been an eye-opening one. Conversations has been about amplifying the good of Africa, doing our best to tell positive stories about Africa, trying as much as possible to ensure that we foster bilateral relations between African countries, particularly South Africa and Nigeria, with the kind of news we tell, the kind of conversations we engage in. After all, it is not exactly like what we see on social media, so we need to go out there to tell the story. So I'm going to say that it has been a great moment for me. I'm pretty excited. I know I'm loaded. I have so much content. I mean, it's just like when you're hungry and somebody gives you exactly what you love to feed on. So that is how I feel now. So I'm going to go back there into the world and be a good ambassador of Africa. I mean, there is no place like home. Like they'll say, Nigeria ti gbogbo wa ni. At the end of the day, Nigeria belongs to all of us. That's just what I meant in Yoruba. So I'm going to go out there as a proud ambassador of Nigeria, as a proud ambassador of MTN, and just, you know, keep amplifying the good of Africa through my stories, through the conversations I jump on, through the ideas I share, through the things I say, and all of that. I will be very, very intentional about the things I put out there. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Stephen Angulu. I work with the Punch newspapers as the State House correspondent, and my experience in SA has been quite revealing, quite a lot of understanding of the idiosyncrasies of the people here, their way of thinking. Of course, 1 week will not be enough for me to be able to unpack all of these things, but from the few days I have spent here, I've understood that at the people-to-people level, the relationship is, of course, it's not perfect, but it's a bit cordial, but not representative of the cordial relationship both governments have, and not reflective of the kind of relationship we have across our entertainment industries now. That's between the South African entertainment industry and the Nigerian entertainment industry. In fact, just yesterday I was seeing a video of a collaboration, a joint stage performance between one of our music artists called Thames and a South African artist called Ira Star. Right, so it means that in the arts and cultural area, these people have transcended barriers. There's a lot going on between Nigeria and South Africa, but then we can cascade that to the nitty-gritties of our relationship with the country. And with regards to what brought me to South Africa, which is the study visit to the University of Johannesburg, I cannot but thank MTN-MIP, to thank the University of Johannesburg, and also to thank the Pan-Atlantic University for the opportunity given to me to represent the third cohort, to present a paper on behalf of the third cohort where we discussed about the survival of media business in the digital age, giving the Nigerian perspective of that discourse. And it was quite revealing for me, honestly, because some of the insights I got from those talks, especially on the second day, the talks by the professor, and of course the panel session on the first day where the Honorable Minister spoke, Deputy Minister in the Presidency spoke, I could start to see the nexus between the media and the shaping of the policies or the relations between South Africa and Nigeria, and that's my biggest takeaway.
Okay, my name is Akin Obakeye. I'm a reporter with CNBC Africa. It's been an eventful 1 week here in South Africa, and looking at what has brought us here, we've not been playing really, because it's been an eventful period. More importantly, the fact that this is my first time in South Africa, and it has helped me to understand and appreciate beyond what I've read while growing up, and even in the course of my profession as a journalist, to better understand and appreciate the cultural diversity that we have in Africa, and more importantly, how our skin color has been able to help us understand the fact that we are one as Africans. Now, let's look at it from the point of view of as a journalist, right? We have one important role to play as journalists, and that is to unify or to help in projecting the unification of Africa. Because let's look at it, since when the post-apartheid regime started, the relationship between Nigeria and South Africa has not been the way it used to be in recent times, and that's because history has not been able to help in re-engaging our consciousness about that brotherhood, about that oneness. Nigeria and Africa are one of the top 5 biggest economies on the continent, and it would be a shame if we're unable to find a common ground to push the African continent forward. So my take home from this 1 week media exchange program or study exchange program is to better understand, appreciate the cultural differences, find that melting pot, that's nexus between both cultures, both beliefs, both countries, and project that unifying Africa. Beyond the media, we have a very important role to play regarding the people-to-people relationship, and it's our duty to ensure that we achieve that.
My name is Oloye Ayodele Samuel. I'm a journalist with Rock FM Jalingo. The South African experience has broadened my horizon on the Pan-Africanism, because this visit, one thing it has done is to show that we are united. We should be united as brothers. The African continent needs the unity of all the countries on it. Hopefully, from this visit to South Africa, though very brief, but intense and inspiring, would be bringing out something that would bring all African countries on the continent to come together and project and speak with one voice, tell African stories to African by African in the African way. And I must say, I sincerely appreciate the sponsors, MTN Nigeria, Pan-Atlantic University School of Media and Communication, and every other person who had made this possible. Thank you.
My name is Lucas Ajanaku. I'm an assistant business editor with the Nation newspaper. I have reported, so many fields. Currently, I report technology, but I was once an energy reporter, oil, gas, and so on and so forth. To your question specifically, the experience I have here in South Africa is something that's very fantastic. I am not coming here for the first time. The experience I have here, the only occasion I had an experience, near what I had here was when I visited Sun City, somewhere in South Africa, a major city in South Africa, for a technology event. Lessons are there. It has become apparent that the media is an important tool for international relations. The message going back to Nigeria is that the South Africans are not devils as people tend to paint them, especially on social media. Then, last line. Many thanks to MTN for the opportunity.
Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you.
Did you see what I said? You can literally feel feel, the expression of the fellows, it's too liquid. You can touch it, you can feel it. Wow, thank you so much to MTN Nigeria for sponsoring these fellows on MTN Media Innovation Program Cohort 3 2024. It's been an honor being there and hosting this podcast. What more? We love you and I love you. Thank you so much. God bless you. I am Oma, your very sweetheart on radio, TV, social media, sweetheart everywhere. See you in my next podcast. Bye-bye.
Sweetheart on radio.